let's make some Easter crafts. For this one, I have these decorative scissors here. I got them back in the 90s. They have my maiden name initials on them, so they're very old. I cut up some brown paper from the Dollar Tree, and I wrapped this bowl, this cereal bowl of mine, with some plastic wrap. I took some watered down Elmer's glue, and I am doing a base coat, trying to cover the bowl completely first, and then I'm taking and just making sort of a mess. And I'm going to just take clumps of the paper and then lay that on top for a more sort of free-form look. Once that was dry on the outside, I removed the plastic wrap so that it could dry on the inside. I wanted the inside to look a little more like the outside, and so I took some more pieces of paper. I accidentally just used straight Mod Podge there, and then I realized because it was so sticky and thick what I had done, so I just took my spray bottle and watered that down a little bit, and then just pressed it into the sides inside the nest here, and formed that as best as I could. Once that was dry, I just tore any pieces that I thought were a little too wild to make it a little better of a shape. I have this $3 foam egg garland from the Dollar Tree, and I just removed the eggs from it. I'm going to use the smaller ones on here. And where the twine was, I just put some spackling in there. And then once that dried, I went over it with some gold paint so that it wouldn't be so noticeable. There are several ways you could style this. I put mine on a plate here. You could use a decorative bowl or a basket. You could have it laying flat or prop it up some, but I think it's a really versatile piece and it was so affordable to make. This is just a quick reminder that if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. That way you don't miss any future videos. And if you click the notification bell, YouTube will notify you when I upload a new video. Okay, for this one, I have this Tinsel bunny from the Dollar Tree. They have a $1.25 one and they have a $3 larger one. I have the smaller one here. And I'm giving it a coat of truffle chalk paint. And they had the dollar ones and the $3 ones mixed together. I don't like how they've started doing that. I thought that they were both $1.25 until I saw later that the larger one was $3. I probably would not have paid $3 for the larger one. But I wish they would keep the $1.25 stuff and the higher stuff more separated. I didn't even think to look because a lot of times they'll have decorative boxes and they'll have smaller ones and larger ones, but they're both $1.25. I have this terracotta pot here that I had painted, and I did not paint it this yellow. I think where it sat outside, the paint faded. But I painted it with ivory chalk paint. Once that truffle dried on the rabbit, I gave it a coat of English Ivy Green by Apple Barrel. I did a stippling motion to get down inside of that tinsel. I bought these napkins from Walmart. They are from Pioneer Woman. I separated the two plies, and then I took some water and a small paintbrush, and I just went around some individual flowers. You do it this way, that way the edges are more feathered and they're not so harsh like when you use scissors. I took some Mod Podge and put a thin coat on there and then placed each individual flower or grouping of flowers. And I did go over the top with more Mod Podge. Now the rabbit was a little bit dark. I love the English Ivy, but I guess that over the truffle chalk paint just made it pretty dark. And so he was looking a little bit like Goth Bunny. So I took some moss chalk paint and mixed that with the English ivy, and that lightened it up a little bit and gave the bunny sort of some highlights. The pot turned out very pretty, but when I got done, I thought, this looks like a Pioneer Woman pot. So the colors were a little bold for me, so I did go over, but this is optional, of course. I did go over with some antique wax, and then the flowers were still just a little bit too bright for me, so I took the ivory chalk paint and I went over those just a little bit to blend them in with the pot, if that makes sense, and make the pot look old and worn and dull those colors down a little bit. And this is just what I do. If you have a certain style, you can skip any of these steps. If there's anything I do that you don't like, if you ever recreate these, make it your own and make it match your style of your home. I took some cardboard and traced around the top of the pot and then cut that down a little bit so that it would fit snugly down inside the top there. And this step was completely unnecessary, but I wanted to show it anyway because you'd be wondering, why is that green now? I painted it green, but I really didn't need to because I'm going to be covering this completely with some Spanish moss. I took 2 tumbling tower blocks, and that's just to raise the bunny up just a little bit. And then I filled in around the bunny with some Spanish moss that I got from Amazon because I haven't been able to find it at Dollar Tree for a long time. I have a paper rose, and I took some antique wax to darken it up a little bit, and then I realized that I didn't like how bright white it was, so I went over it with some ivory chalk paint to make it match the pot just a little more. I tied that around the bunny's neck with some twine. Do y'all remember what this rabbit looked like? I mean, what a difference some paint makes. Unfortunately, some of that glitter is still shining through. Not too bad, just some. But fortunately, it's reflecting off that green paint, and it looks like green glitter. So it looks purposeful and it matches. And I think if you did more coats of paint that I did, I only did, well, I guess 3 total coats. 1 coat of the chalk paint and then 2 coats of green. So maybe if you painted more coats, it would hide that glitter. For this one, I have this air dry clay, and I'm going to roll up some little eggs. I set those aside to dry. And I have this jar from the Dollar Tree. I like these jars because a regular mason jar has this sort of raised places for the measurements and such on them on both sides. And this one has a clear, a side that doesn't have anything on it at all. I glued those lid pieces together so they would be one solid piece. I got these mini bunnies from the Dollar General, and I'm going to paint them with Chestnut Brown by Rust-Oleum. Don't they look like little chocolate bunnies? Once those eggs were dry, I gave them a coat of the same paint, actually several coats, because that clay just kept soaking that paint up. These little tags will be in the description box as a free printable. All my printables are always free, and it's always a direct link straight to the printable. I used some Beatrix Potter images there to make those, and her art is now in the public domain. I got this pack of carrots from the Dollar Tree this year, and I actually think they're pretty cute. I know a lot of people take the raffia out and replace it with some greenery, but I feel like they do a good job with aging up the greenery there a little bit, and I don't hate them. I did put a little bit of antique wax on the orange part. I thought that looked a little bit better. And I just filled up the jar, layering it with Spanish moss and this whole pack of carrots. I took this tag and I punched a hole on each side and ran some of this twine through. I'm not sure what this twine is called. I think I got it from, it's very straw-like, and I think I got it from Walmart. So on the top of the lid, I really want to use hot glue, and hot glue doesn't stick well to metal, but I did try to help myself out, and I roughed up the top there with a sanding block, and I just glued this twine all the way around the top. I glued on the 2 chocolate bunnies and then glued on the eggs as well. Now, I'm well aware of what these eggs sort of look like, but the size ratio does not work for that to be that. So they're chocolate eggs, okay? I did not speckle these. I spray painted them in a box in my craft room, and I could not stop them from rolling around. And so as they would roll and the paint wouldn't be cured, it would take the paint off in some places, and I didn't hate that. I thought it looked fine, so I just left it. For this one, I have this little box from the Dollar Tree, and this will be a printable in the description box as well. I try not to do more than one printable in a video, but this is just how it worked out. I will have the printable be combined with the 2 crafts. It'll be one printable for both crafts. I painted the box green with that paint that I mixed up with the English ivy and the moss. Sorry for being out of focus here, but I did take an extra strength crafting glue stick and attach the labels to the box. I found the center of the 2 sides there, and then I punched a hole for the handle. I took some antique wax and with a pretty dry brush aged up the edges of the box. I thought I would slow it down here. I usually go pretty fast in my videos, and I don't realize that sometimes some people might want it slowed down to see how I'm doing things. I just do the same, painting techniques over and over, so I just assume everybody's like, we know, we get it, and you'd rather not see it in slow motion, but I have this wired jute cord from the Dollar Tree, and what I like to do with that, because it comes unraveled off the wire, so easily, is that I coat it with Mod Podge. It stiffens it up and keeps that from unraveling off of the wire. I just love how all these turned out. I can't wait to decorate with them for Easter this year, and I think they all go together fairly well. Let me know what you think down in the comments. That's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. See you in the next one.